Another Saturday. Another month has gone by. Another day to answer questions. We got 4. Oh, look at this. This is a 100% like ratio. 4 viewers, 4 likes. That's a 100% like ratio. 100. What does that do? Does that? Hopefully we get some people in here. We can do a nice little short live stream. Answer some questions. Get on with their lives. Good morning, everybody. As people filter in. Slow mode is on. Send a message. Obviously, you guys can hear me, so that's good. Very good. Hi. What are you smelling? Morning. We'll do the typical, guys. Just some small chat for like the first 5 minutes. Give people time to filter in. Then we'll go and we'll start answering questions. So we'll just hold off on the questions for just a couple minutes, But if you're in here, make sure you like the stream. So maybe YouTube will promote it. We can have a good ratio. It's good. We're gonna do some good questions. So just good morning as everyone filters in. Yeah. This is gonna be a live stream. Everybody's gonna see you. They're gonna see that you're still alive. And you'll unball yourself, which is really nice. And then you'll not be shy and you'll not be afraid. And you can show people how amazing pets ball pythons can be. Even ones that were rescued who were in horrible shape and wanted to kill me. How quickly you become friendly. Hello. Hello, Alexis. Hello, Sleepy Noodle. She was she was asleep, but she definitely was basking. I had to pick up her hide, and she's nice and really warm and toasty. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Hello, Governor. Happy birthday, Alexis says. Yes, thank you. You read the title. Today is my birthday. 35 years old today. Good. Everyone's coming in. Very good. We've only been going for like a minute. We got 17 people in here. So like I said, we'll probably go to 9:20 Eastern time, and then we'll start taking questions and stuff. That'll give everyone a good 5 minutes to filter in, and then anyone who joins after, that's fine too. They can just jump in. This is no hate here. People can ask the same questions because maybe they missed a question. It's fine. We got plenty of time. Oh, thanks, Isabel. Thank you. She's coming up. Isn't she just gorgeous? Hello from Cali. What up, surfer bro? I turned my fridge off on accident and had my rats in there for about 1.5 days. So do you mean your freezer? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. If they fully thawed, then no, but I don't know. Everyone's insulation is different. What you're supposed to do in like a freezer, you're supposed to put like a little Dixie cup full of water, let that freeze, and then you put a coin on top of it. That way, if you lose power and that the Dixie cup, the ice block melts and the coin floats into it, you can see like how thawed everything became. If it floats to the bottom, that means everything in your freezer fully thawed out and it's got to in the garbage. If it's still at the top, that's good. I got just a couple more minutes here. If you're in the stream, please make sure to leave a like. Maybe we can get this promoted. See some people who've got questions for reptiles. Hi, well, you're just smelling everything. Don't I? This is what I love. Hopefully, guys on camera. Oh yeah, you can see her tongue. Like younger snakes and snakes that are new are so curious. Her tongue is all over the place. These are new scents. The snakes that I've had for years, they don't do this anymore. They know what everything is. They know who I am. The visuals are not new. The scents are not new. So they're nowhere near as curious. So they're also more passive. They don't move around like this because they're not trying to look at and smell everything. Just looking over at the turtles all climbing over themselves. Like what? Just don't look. Just don't look. Just it's easier not to look. It's easier on them not to look. I checked on them. Blood was leaking. Ooh, yeah, Preston. That doesn't sound good to me, man. That's probably a loss, buddy. Going to be breeding bearded dragons. Good luck with that, Maddie. They're not the easiest lizard to breed, but they're one of the most popular lizards. So although not super expensive, if you're not breeding, rare colors, they sell. They're movers, so that's a good thing. Small little snake, they can be aggressive breeders, but they're also really fast breeders. Like the actual mating can just take seconds, just seconds. So uh, male goes in with the female, boom, 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 boom. 10 seconds later, it's all over. Male comes out. Yeah, I'll make sure, Iris, when I go over that the problems with really just anything that has gone bad. We'll just take a couple more minutes. I had a couple people text saying they're going to pop in right now. I don't want to start without them. Otherwise, good morning, everybody. Saturday morning after Thanksgiving. If you're in the United States, hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys did. Anyone do the crazy Black Friday shopping? I don't even know if it's really that crazy anymore because like the sales start on like Monday and they're all online. So other than maybe a few doorbusters, I don't know if the Black Friday madness, like remember people were getting killed in Walmart and all that. And South Park did like a great parody of it. But I used to work at Best Buy in college, 15 plus years ago. And yeah, Black Friday, back then we had people set up tents with heaters and generators, and they would be out there for 2 weeks before Black Friday, so they could get like a 50-inch TV for $50. So the doorbusters. I don't know if that still exists. I don't follow. I don't keep up with it. But if you did do the Black Friday, you can let me know what you bought, how crazy it was. I mean, I went to the store yesterday. I went to Home Depot. I had to buy some light switch panel covers. I'm changing up some of the electrical here in my house, and so. But I went at noon, and there was no rush. The rush is when they probably first open. I don't even know if they open on Thanksgiving anymore. They used to. I don't hate myself. I think if we went to the mall. Yeah, did you get anything at the mall though? Did you score? Like, what was a big deal? Like, what was a big sale? If you did, I went and bought faceplates for my light switches, so they were like 70 cents each, which is what they are normally. So, uh, Red Line. I've been up since 5:30 a.m. I get up early every day. There's a lot to do, man. There's a lot to do. Oh gosh, she's like, I don't hate myself enough. Uh, we can go ahead and let me answer Iris's. Well, not Iris, but she wants me to explain the dangers of feeding something bad, basically. And then as soon as I filter that, then you guys can ask questions if you got them. If not, I got some stuff I'll show, and we'll get into that. I got three things: strawberry pound cake shower gel, strawberry pound cake perfume. I see a trend there, Maddie, with strawberries. And at first, I thought you were just going to say you bought like a ton of strawberry pound cakes, which in and of itself sounds absolutely delicious, which is good. But then I noticed shower gel, perfume, and lotion. Triple strawberry, because I assume you shower with the gel and then you come out and you put the lotion on after the shower and then you spray yourself with the perfume, and that's like triple strawberry pound cake. Lego moved most of their Black Friday. That's what I mean. Like, a lot of the stuff is available in the store, but is available online. And the Black Friday online sales, like for Amazon and Best Buy and Walmart and everything, started on Monday. The same deal. So other than just those door busters, there may not be super savings anymore. Which that's interesting. But okay. So we're going to get into this again. I'm going to say this many times, but if you're in here, please leave a like, drop a like. The more likes we can get people promoted who are looking up reptile videos during this, and the live stream will be at the top. Yay. But let's, so Iris, to go back in the chat, there was, Bathroom Body Works store letting you set. That's beautiful. Coupon stacking. Coupon stacking is nice when sometimes you actually get money back for buying something. When you buy something that costs $1 normally and you have $1.35 in coupons, and then you actually get paid to buy that thing. That's great. And no, the store's typically not eating that because those are manufacturer coupons. So normally the manufacturer is eating that as a loss leader. But what is a danger of feeding perhaps something that was thawed or refrozen or some rotting food, especially meat, to, let's look at a snake. If you had a rodent that thawed out for too long or thawed it and refroze it, so you're going to have rotting meat, and especially something that's whole prey like that. The biggest thing that can happen is something starts to rot is the gas buildup, and you can have huge intestinal issues with something that's rotting or fermenting inside of your animal, not just snakes, monitors, dogs, cats, and they'll basically rot your animal from the inside, which is not good. I mean, it's, you could get really sick. They could potentially die. In terms of really sick, if you're eating something that starts rotting and maybe maggots or parasites start forming in that, they're going to be transferred to your animal. And some animals have, especially more wildish animals, have really strong digestive juices, acids that, because they're out in the wild, and they'll scab vultures for one. And they're known to eat those things, and their stomach acids can kill those parasites, but not everything. And it still weakens an immune system to try to kill those parasites. Even if it 100% kills those parasites from that bad meal, you then got an animal with a weakened immune system, which is now compromised if something else were to happen while its immune system is, trying to recover. So it's just safer to feed fresh food, as fresh as can be, right? So if you look at frozen rodents, they're typically gassed, CO2. That's the number one way. And then immediately frozen. Sometimes they use a little head shunt, but most of the time they're CO2 gassed, and then they're frozen immediately. So you don't have that decay period, which is good. But so yeah, guys, go ahead and ask all questions that you guys got. We'll make sure we tackle them. It doesn't matter if you think it was answered before in this video, even though we're at the beginning, or if it was answered in a video. But if you've had a question, you can ask for follow-ups, especially for more clarification of maybe something I've said in a video or something that's always been nagging you. Let's see here. What is the best thing to feed bearded dragons? Well, oh no. Oh, hey. That's, so bearded dragon diets are typically a problem for a lot of people because a lot of people it's a simple diet, but unlike some other reptiles, they have a changing diet. And they're not like a leopard gecko that's just an insectivore. They're not a carnivore that could also eat some bugs. Um, no, they have a changing diet. They're like a almost like a tegu, honestly, except a tegu is much less prone to gout and over proteining and things like that. So bearded dragons, they start they have a changing diet that changes by the time they hit 1 years old, and it starts to phase and heavily change as they get to one. So when they're younger, they're growing, they're not storing fat. They need fat and they need protein to grow, right? Just like a baby. Wow, who would have thought? So they should be eating more insects. And in the wild, they'll hunt for insects, but they don't always find them. That's typically why pet bearded dragons are much larger and much healthier than wild bearded dragons because we have the ability to help with the diet. So up until 1 year of age, they do most of their growing, and then after 1 year of age, they do less growing until they about hit two. And then when they hit 2 years old, they will always grow. Reptiles will always grow, but once they hit two, it really slows. It doesn't stop; it just slows. So from 0 to 1, so from birth to one, they should be eating mostly bugs as they start as birth. And at about the 6 month age, they should be on 50-50 bugs slash veggies. Dark greens work very well. Turnip or collard greens are the best. And then you can mix in squashes and carrots and things like that. Red bell peppers, very good. Colored bell peppers. And by the time they hit one, they should be on 90% greens with 10% bugs because they're not growing as much. They will now start, when they hit 1 year old, they will start to store fat rather than use majority of the fat to grow. And that's when you run into things like fatty liver disease. They also don't need all that protein and too much protein. They're very prone to get gout because they don't need a lot of water, get most of their water from what they eat. Although if you have one that drinks from a water bowl, you're really lucky because you'll probably never have gout. And I've done videos on how to prevent gout. But if they have a lot of that protein and they start storing it, they'll have a high tendency to get gout. So by the time they hit one, you still need to feed them bugs. So what I do is 1 day a week is bug day. It's Friday. The rest of the day, they vary from squashes. Squash, like a big squash, is really nice. Butternut, even yellow squashes, because you can just cut the top and cut a disc of what you need and slice it up, julienne it, and put the whole other thing in the fridge. And then when you need it again, you can just cut the top and go again. Lasts forever in the fridge, months, because you could just cut the dry piece and get into the good stuff. So it's a really good thing to keep in there. Yeah, totally makes sense. They're not dead prey in the wild. Yeah, they don't eat. I mean, some of them do eat dead prey in the wild. Let's be clear, and it typically leads to a shorter lifespan. Now, there are larger monitor lizards, Komodo dragons, things like that that have stronger stomach acids that can eat that dead prey or very limited portions of it, but it's not a good deal. And also, those reptiles, their body is used to eating that dead prey. Where as a pet, if they're not used to eating it, it's just not going to go well. I love that I invoke fear in a grown man. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you love that. In terms of bugs, though, yeah, dubia roaches are really good because they have a lot of protein with very little fat. Uh, super worms and things like that have a lot more fat, which is why they really like them. They go crazy for them. But dubia roaches are typically the best staple. If you can get locusts, they're good too. If crickets are good, except a lot of the time they'll have parasites because of the way they're stored. They're very messy bugs. They eat and drink their own poop and pee, and then your reptile eats them. Also, they're very aggressive bugs. So if you lose a couple in the tank, that cricket, they've been known to blind reptiles because they'll at night they'll go on your reptile, they'll bite their eye, they'll tear their eyes to shred. Dubia super worms, if you lose them in the tank, good chance that they'll molt and they turn basically into stink beetles. They smell horrible, and then they're aggressive as the beetle. But dubious if you lose them. If you have any type of water bowl, they'll probably drown themselves because they'll go to drink water. They don't know how to drink water, so they drown. Uh, or they'll starve to death. No, what's the loss? Nothing. They're not harmful to the reptile, so you're good to go. Can I co-house common geckos with the no? You know, I don't know because I don't have a lot of experience with just your common gecko or really anoles. And so in terms of co-housing, I'm not sure how they would do with aggression. So I wish I could answer that one, but that's just too no experience keeping those at all. Sorry. But if you follow normal co-housing rules, see, because I don't know if these are sexually aggressive, I don't know how much room they need, but typically if they're passive and they're both female and they don't have sexual aggression and there's enough room and the climate can be okay and you can monitor it, you can give it a shot, you can see what happens. And then maybe you can make videos on it or post a blog about it, take pictures. Mine is 3 years old. Mine drinks out of a water bowl once in a while. Yeah, it's bearded dragons and hydration is also a big problem. In the wild it is as well. And again, this is why these things normally don't have big lifespans. They don't sweat, so they don't burn through a lot of water. If you give them too much water, they need very little water. If you give them too much water, their body will purge the excess water because it's just carrying weight and they don't need it, and they'll just pee out the pure water. But if they get dehydrated, which they can because they won't drink, dehydration in bearded dragons is bad. It can do a lot. They can prolapse easily because they can push their guts out if they're dehydrated. Uh, Ruins their skin, their eyesight. I mean, it just can lead to death really quickly. So the biggest thing I like is when you're feeding greens, if you can make those greens really wet, great. If you notice your bearded dragon has really dry poop and it doesn't drink, and even the wet greens aren't doing it, maybe you've got to syringe feed it some water once a week, twice a week. You have to look at the poop and the pee and see if you're at a good spot where you're getting slimy poop and a nice size urate. Good, because it's processing. Um, Too much water, take it back. Too little water, increase it. So you look at the stool. Your bearded dragon should not be straining to poop. If it's straining to poop, even if it poops out and puts out urate, if it's really straining, it's probably a little dehydrated. How many of your reptiles will eat vegetables? Will eat. Well, if we're not counting fruits, if we're just counting vegetables, almost all of them will eat vegetables. Not the snakes, but the all the monitors get vegetables. They'll all eat them. The tegus eat them, obviously, and the wild tegus eat flowers and all that. The bearded dragons get them. So really, just if it's fruits, all of them will get fruit. Except for the leopard geckos. Leopard geckos, I don't give fruit or vegetables to. Their body has a very hard time digesting fruits and vegetables. Leopard geckos are bug eaters. They have a very hard time. They can digest fruits and vegetables. It's very hard on their body. I don't see a reason why you would ever do that. It doesn't kill them, but it's not good for them. A lot of a nose in a tank do good. Make sure it's big though. Mine has wet poop. I put a lot of water in my goose. Yeah, and that's good. So there's no downside. So if you look at a bearded dragon or any lizard, and you notice that it's having wet poops or a little bit of diarrhea or excess water, there's no downside to that. That is the body's natural way of it's like a human. If you drink a lot, you pee a lot. That's what happens. So there is no downside to that. They will process it out. It's also good. It helps keep their kidneys clean and it prevents urates from getting too big, which could lead to a problem. So, the downside is as a reptile keeper, you need to clean the tank. You need to change the substrate. You need to use chlorhexidine, but that's normal. But that's really good for the reptile. If you have a bearded dragon, especially people talk about how little they go to the bathroom sometimes and it's long times, get them some extra hydration. That water has to come out. And so, especially too, if they have a blockage, all that water behind it, you can sometimes one soften the stool, and it can help force it on out, which is good. Also, I really like this like ratio, 16 viewers to 20 likes. That's what I like to see, guys. Like the stream so it'll get promoted. You guys can ask questions, but I want to talk about ball pythons because I've said this 100 times, but I have the ball python here. This is the newest rescue. You guys remember her? She wanted to kill me. She had so much stuck shed. And I think the next shed will be the last time she has any trouble shedding. So I talk about that, and then there's a reason why I'm starting with ball pythons. But when you have a snake that was a little dehydrated, and in ball pythons hydration, you can tell with the eyes if there's a little dents or little sunk ins, a little dehydrated. But also someone who's got damage to scales, and you can tell she had some problems at one point from a rat, or maybe it was a bad shed because she's got that scar in the middle. See that light in the middle of her face by your nose? That's a scar. Very common on a lot of snakes, so don't worry. Um, and a lot of times they do it to themselves, shedding. They're just rubbing their head against something, and they damage their new scales. But so what happens is you've got damaged scales. Now, how does a snake heal? They're not like us, where they just get a scab and then the skin falls off. They've got to shed their whole body. Now, when they do know that they've damaged an area, they do put themselves into shed more. So they shed their whole body, but it takes longer. But what can happen is that damaged area is hard to shed. And so stuck shed is very common in a rescue snake, that the scales are not pristine. And it takes a couple sheds to get all of that waste and really renew. Every time there's a new scale coming in place, new skin, it's a little bit better than the old one, and the next one's a little bit better than that one, and then the next one's a little bit better than that one. That's important. The other thing is rescue snakes and baby snakes shedding, the act of shedding and then the act of getting out of it takes a lot. It's a lot of energy on the snake. So when you get a rescue or a baby that's, especially if it's underweight, it starts eating and starts shedding a lot. So it's going to use a lot of energy as well. If you ever seen a snake shed, it's pretty hard. They kind of stretch their mouth open all the way to kind of rip it off their lips and then rub against something. So you've got to get the snake full of energy, and then you need their scales to be healed, and then you don't have stuck shed anymore as long as you keep your humidity up or you minimize it, because sometimes even in the most humidity, some scales just get stuck. You have everything right. Iguanas, you see, my Charmander gets stuck shed sometimes. He's in a tank that constantly has 80% humidity. It's got a hydrometer in there. It's got a fogger with two hoses. It's at 80% humidity, except for when I open the door to interact with him or put food in, it drops, but then I close the door. He gets stuck shut. And he's got a huge water pool he swims in all the time. So it can just happen because he can scratch his scales and things like that. It just happens. So you don't have to worry about that. But you should see it go away. And holy crap. Eileen Brown, $50. Happy birthday. Here's some money for your reptiles to steal. I don't want to get emotional, but that's so nice. Thank you so much, Red. Thank you so much. Kylene is a Patreon member as well, and on the Discord, and has an awesome Savannah monitor named Chester. Has snakes as well, and they're just an awesome person. And she's one of the people in Discord we hang out with and talk with often. So thank you so much. That means so much. So that money is going to the reptiles, but it's kind of like a birthday present because I don't have to spend 50 more of my dollars. Right? Right. Oh gosh, thank you so much. That's so means so much to me. I say this spiel all the time, guys, but any money that gets donated through Patreon or the GoFundMe or from YouTube ad revenue, it all goes to the snakes. It all goes to the snakes. Rescuing reptiles, especially because I rehome these guys without charging 5 to 10 times the cost. Go Herping used to do that, but it's expensive. It doesn't make money, but I'm not trying. It loses money, right? But I want to educate people. It's not about becoming a millionaire for me. Okay, it's about educating people and helping these animals, and also these animals, in my opinion, are some of the best animals to raise because if you we have so many irrational fears about reptiles. That's wrong. We have so many bad thinking about how stupid reptiles are. Well, they're not, right? People will say, "Oh, you're a reptile, reptile brain, blah blah blah. Lizards are stupid, blah blah blah." Wait till in the spring when I release the video of the commands I've been training Simba like a dog and the commands that he follows. And if you're on Discord, you've seen a couple sneak peeks of them sometimes, right? If you're donating to me on Patreon, you get to come in the Discord, talk to me live. I'm on there multiple times a week. Also, message. We're such a great community, but you also get sneak peek videos, which is really cool. But Simba, I've been teaching a lot of commands to. We got about 5 that are really good that I can say and he will do, not for a treat, but he used to get treats. But then after he does them all, he'll get a treat always. So, but that's a lizard. That's a monitor lizard. Listens better than most people's dogs. She looks so much better. She's getting better. Catch up on the chat here. Super worms are treats. Yeah, they definitely are treats. They're just kind of unhealthy, to be honest. Like, just being realistic. It's unfortunate because some people will use them as their daily feeder because they're cheap. And also, oh, if you need hydration, hornworms, let them get big. They're like all water. Really good hydration. How often can you feed bearded dragon superworms? Yeah, they're a treat a couple times a month, especially if you're, a little bit, if you're only feeding 1 or 2 as a treat, if you're trying to train them, 1 a day or 2 a day is not going to do anything, especially when they're growing. My parents say I'm a search engine for reptiles, but I'm 10 years old. I do research all the time. Yeah, Maddie, good. I mean, it starts young, and that's really how you become an expert, right? When I was doing system administration, starting with my computers, I just started working on and fixing computers and understanding them when I was like 5, 6. Why is it broken? Why is this software not working? Why is this code messed up? The age doesn't really matter. In fact, you get a head start. So if you're coming with that mentality already, you're going to be so far ahead of someone who's, let's say, 25 years old and just decides that day and they want to do it when you've got years of experience. I plan on getting a dragon soon. Okay, X Wolf, they're judgmental pets, so plan on behaving, otherwise you'll be judged. Oh my God, Simba is such a good boy. Kudos to you. I will not say. I will not say it, but he can do things that are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He does a lot of things. Can I feed my berry dragons mealworms, orange juice, and then give to my? Uh, okay, that's a good question. So let's talk about. I probably wouldn't feed them orange juice, but giving citrus to bugs, it's really important to know what bugs can eat the citrus safe, uh, process it, synthesize it into vitamin C, that then the reptile, when they eat the bug, is safe, right? Because we know that orange juice and citrus has acid, and that acid is not good for your reptile, but any reptile. But there's a lot of vitamin C and there's a lot of other things that are in oranges and other types of fruits that are good for the reptile. So And there's a lot of sugar in oranges. So normally you would feed like citrus slices. I feed orange juice, especially if I know I've got a bug that may a reptile I know I'm not getting good. I'll feed orange slices to. I'll take some dubias out, put them in a smaller bin, put some orange wedges in there, and I wait about 2 days so they can fully eat them all, depending on how many I put in there. And then I know that they synthesize that and then feed it. Because obviously, if you let them eat it and then a lot of people do this, and this is wrong with gut loading. You feed food to the bug, and then you instantly feed the bug to the reptile or whatever in question, and that doesn't work. You need the whatever's eating it, a bug, a rat, etc. You need their body to break it down, process it, synthesize it, and then you feed them off. So there's people who are like, "Oh, I gut loaded these an hour ago." No, 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 not good. If you were going to gut load your insects, at least 24 hours, but 32, even better, because they'll fully process that. Some bugs process things a lot slower, so you have to just know those things. And you'll see too, because you'll see how quickly your bugs actually ate, the orange slice you put in there, the orange disc. And then once it's all gone, or you see they've stopped eating it, then you just wait, and then feed them the next day, feed them off. But I wouldn't do juice itself. It just, to me, that seems like a mess. They can crawl through it, they can poop in it, then they can drink it. You do a wedge or a disc. So dubia roaches are what I should give my bearded dragon, right? That's my staple bug. Really, for anything that eats bugs, that should be the staple. And then you can once in a while give them some hornworms, give them a couple, give them some super worms. You can trade it up, but dubias are also really good because they love to eat vegetables. So when I'm feeding turnip greens, I don't feed the stem, right? So then I have a stem of turnip greens. Well, I give them either to my rabbit, I give them to my tortoise, or I'll give them to the dubias. The dubias kind of become a vegetable garbage disposal, natural composters, and there's a lot of vitamins in those things. So you don't have to, when you got dubias, you don't have to waste fruit or vegetables, which is really nice. Yeah, the bearded dragon itself shouldn't eat oranges. They shouldn't eat any citrus. Reptiles shouldn't eat any citrus. They're not really made to. They're not made. Not even really made. They're not made to process that acid. Which you would think would be okay because we give them a lot of calcium, right? But then their body has to use a huge amount of the stored calcium to counteract that acid. So if they have enough calcium, one, they've just pulled it all out of their bones, right? Now they're going to be calcium deficient. And if they don't have enough calcium, they're probably going to throw up. It's going to be very acidic. Because they don't have enough calcium to do with that, especially smaller reptiles. Because they will love to eat the fruit. They will love to drink the juice, the sugar in there. Doesn't work. I have my bearded dragon tank set up, just like you showed in one setup video, even with the same brands. But I am in trouble keeping the temps on the sides over mid 70s. Okay. So Kelly, that's a good question. I'm just kind of processing it. I don't. What size tank do you have? Is it a fit like a 50-gallon breeder? And when you have the heat on one side, um, your basking spot. I'm assuming you're using a thermal temp gun. If your basking spot is on one side, that side of the tank is probably the hot side. So that side has to be over mid 70s. If the surface temperature is 104, that side's definitely over mid 70s. And if the cool side is at mid 70s, the far side of the tank, that's perfect. That bearded dragon is going to love that temperature differential. They're going to be able to cool down and they are going to be able to heat up, and then in the middle they're going to just be able to be mellow. That's a perfect split. I try to get my cool side to be mid to low 70s. It's very realistic because it simulates a shaded area in the wild. So if they want to be that cool, they can go there. If they don't want to be that cool, they don't go there. It's real simple. Don't That's a good temp. Bearded dragons are really hardy down, especially when they're younger, down to about 65 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want to go below that. I have all my because just safety, right? I have heaters that are on thermostats for nighttime temperatures on all my bearded dragon tanks. They kick on if the temperature were, for some reason, to drop below 68 degrees Fahrenheit. As soon as it hits 68, that thing will kick on. It will keep it at 68. What if my furnace goes out? Their electrical is on a backup generator. The reptiles get a backup generator. I don't. And I have the backup generator could run. I have two windowed AC units. So if it goes out in the summer and it's super hot, I can put a window AC unit in each of their windows and run on the backup generator. And then for the heat, obviously they have their own heating things. So, but they're real hardy down to 65. When they're older, like 68, 69, 70 is where you typically want to keep it because the older dragon takes a little bit longer to heat up and get going. Holy crap, dubias love citrus. Yes, they do. And fresh veggies and fruits. Yeah, it's fascinating because if you put citrus in there, like put a wedge of an orange, they will eat that thing down all the way to the peel, and you will have the cleanest peel you've ever seen. Like you will see the individual indentations where that orange, the pulp was connected. It's crazy. They strip it down to nothing. It's so cool. But so you don't have waste. Ender Cat donates $2. Sorry, I don't have much, but happy birthday, Ender Cat 3. No, there's absolutely nothing to be sorry about. Thank you so much. The most people donate nothing, so $2 is 200% more than the people who donate nothing. That's a lot more. No, I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. It all goes to the reptiles. $2 is a large rat. So you know what? You've just fed Zelda her next feeding. Not today, next week. So thank you so much. Sometimes people don't understand little donations for someone who's keeping reptiles actually helps so much because that's a rat for the month. So now that $2 has fed one of my snakes for that month. That's huge, right? That's huge to keep on going when you have that many things. So thank you so much. Mine love the cool side. Yes, some do. One of her vet specialists was concerned with it is all. Tank is 30 by 18. Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned as long as there's a good gradient leading to that 70s, you're in a good spot. And 36 by 18 is a really comfortable size for bearded dragons. Really comfortable, especially if you got ledges. Really comfortable. What's your suggestion for a Kenyan sand boa pertaining to temps? Okay, so here's the thing. Kenyan sand boas, there's no experience with them. I'm sorry. I would love to give you a temp. I'm not going to Google something and tell you. I don't have personal experience, but what I've noticed with almost all of my reptiles is if you don't know and you don't have someone who knows, you go with the majority of the Googling, but then you monitor your snake's behavior. If you see if it's spending almost all of the day basking, the basking spot is probably a little too cool and it's not getting hot enough. You want to see thermal regulation taking place during the day. You want to see your reptile be on the heat for a good amount of time. If it's on the heat for a short amount of time, that heat is too hot, that reptile is getting too hot and they're leaving. If it's on there all day, that heat is too cool and they're not getting up to their temp. So that's what you can look at. So you want to make sure that they spend a good portion of the day on heat and they spend a good portion of the day on cool. They're thermoregulating their body. It's very important. When they eat especially, the reptile knows they need to be on heat. So beyond popular belief, a lot of people don't know, yes, reptiles are cold-blooded. That means their body does not generate heat while they're idle. That does not mean their body doesn't generate heat. They just don't generate heat while doing nothing. As humans, we do. We are always 98. Our body's always trying to get us back to that. Reptiles don't. When reptiles eat or they move or they're running or things like that, their body is generating heat. So when they eat, their body tells them, okay, we need to get hot. And they start generating heat, regardless of a heat source. They themselves start generating that heat to digest. But they know they need to be at a certain temperature to digest. So they should be, when they eat, spending most of the time on the heat. But don't be scared if after they eat, you also see them on the cool side. They know what temperature they have to be at. So if they warmed up, they'll go on the cool side and their body doesn't cool down right away. And then they'll go back. But so you just want to look for that behavior. And this goes for all reptiles. There should be a good amount of basking and a good amount of cooling off. They need to cool off to stay healthy. Otherwise, their system is running at 100% the entire time. Think of it like a computer, a car, where you're neutral and you're just holding the gas pedal. They're going to burn themselves out. So they need to use their processes. Then they need their body to relax and cool down so they don't stroke out. What size dubia roaches should I get? The big ones or the small ones? For a smaller beardy, the smaller ones are fine. If you have if you get a colony yourself, you'll have all sizes available to you all the time. Typically, the larger they get, they get harder. So you don't want those for a small one, but you do want a little bit of crunch because dubia roaches are really good at cleaning teeth for bearded dragons. Dubia roaches and squash are the two best thing to keep your bearded dragon's teeth clean, which is really good. And then you don't have to have any dental work done, any plaque build up. They should have nice clean teeth. If you start a colony, even if you don't have more than one bearded dragon, if you start a colony, one, it's cheap, and two, you can manage the size of your colony. You can keep your colony small. Just get out dubious, throw them away, put them in a bag, put them in the freezer, then throw them out in the garbage. Or if you've got a garden, or if you want to be really nice, you throw them out on the lawn. What do I do with my dubias? I empty the bin every 3 weeks, and the ones that get left behind, because you have them on trays, the bin with the trash bag with the frass and with live dubias gets double bagged and put in my chest freezer. 2 days, everything in there dies. I then take that garbage bag and I throw it over the lawn. The frass is amazing fertilizer. I have super dark green grass. I don't spend any money to have anyone come spray or anything. But the dead dubias, the birds feast on those. You're feeding the wildlife. It's awesome. If you've got a garden, you can throw them in there, flower bed, because even the dubias themselves break down. All right, let's keep going. I don't want to miss anyone's talking. My mom thinks the fabric reptile carpet is not bad per se, but it's bad because it holds bacteria like crazy, like crazy. So even if your bearded dragon pees out water that you can't see and then it dries, reptile carpet is the silent killer. Because even your bearded dragon poops on it and you spot clean the poop, those juices, for lack of a better term, soak in there. And then that heat, it's like a petri dish, is just growing and growing and growing bacteria. Yeah, if you take your reptile carpet out every time your bearded dragon poops or pees, and you wash it, hot water, bleach, whatever, Tide, yeah, you can keep it bacteria free and then it's fine. But you don't know every time it poops or pees. Again, what if it just pees out extra water? You've got a bacteria infestation like no other. It's not safe. Don't use it. I like newspaper because when they poop, I take it out and I put something new in. Hey, here's the comics. Hey, here's the obituaries. Hey, here's for jobs. Here's, they get color, they get this or that. But otherwise, it used to be shelf liner was the most popular thing. Now they actually make reptile inserts that are basically rubber like shelf liner, so non-absorbent for water. So you can scoop up the poop, you can spray with chlorhexidine, you can wipe it, and you've disinfected your tank in 5 seconds. Beautiful. Male dubias have non-flying wings. You want more females than males. Males will pick on other males. Yeah, males can. That's a good question. Male dubias can pick on other males. That normally happens if they get hungry, though. That's really when it will start happening. Male dubias, they'll have really spiky legs as well. So you gotta be careful. For my smaller dragons, my smaller reptiles, if I was going to feed a male, I actually rip the legs off because they're just really pokey. But those big wings are really good. So dubias, the exoskeleton, the wings, those are non-soluble fiber. They can't be broken down. Why is that good? Because then as they go through the intestinal tract, they will make sure everything gets pushed. They add a lot of mass. They make sure everything gets pushed and cleared out. So I feed a variety of females and males. Opinion on arthropods, insect spiders, isopods, etc. I, a lot of these isopods, roly polies, things like that, they're all good. I don't think what springtails are good. I just don't use them because I don't feel that, outside of John Wesley's tank, I don't see anything that needs a bioactive tank. Uh, that's just what it is. Most professional keepers, even if they do reptile, Repta Earth or things like that, they don't do bioactive. To have true bioactive, good bioactive, and it will work for like geckos or things, you need good humidity, good water, and live plants. You need live plants. You need those roots in the dirt sucking things out. A lot of reptiles don't want super high humidity, and they're big, and they'll accidentally kill the plant. Even if they don't dig it up, they'll just walk right through it. They'll just step on it. They'll just crush the crap out of it. So bioactive looks sweet. And for the smaller ones that use bioactive, frogs, poison dart frogs, things like that, great, just great. Chameleons, you can put a live little tree in there, perfect. But otherwise, they're not practical. They don't work. They're useless, and they're a mess. And they harbor bacteria like no other. How can I make a colony? It's super simple. You can actually buy a dubia starting colony, and it will have adult males and adult females that are ready to breed. Typically, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, so you might get 5 males with 10 females or something like that. You get a bin, you get some egg cartons, little water bowl, little food bowl. Figure out what you want to feed. I feed chicken food, and a heating pad if you want to speed it up, because the hotter the colony is, the more it will produce. And sometimes in the winter too, your home, your floor may be too cold. You put a heating pad underneath. You don't need the heating pad. It just speeds things up. Yeah. So typically it's about 70 days for babies to happen. But eventually, so when you first start your colony, I didn't feed any of them because I just wanted them to keep getting older and produce, because they have live birth, they produce a lot of babies. Um, so I think I was like 120 days. So not a long time, but I also had a lot of reptiles. So, I needed to make sure this colony was going to go strong. And then if you ever are getting low, just cut back on the feeding or stop the feeding. Turn up the heat to high on the heating pad, stop the feeding, let your colony build back up, and you're good to go. So you have to wait a month. So you spend a month, you buy some dubias online or you buy some hornworms that month, it's fine. Just got here. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, Doll Addict. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. My beardy Zach loves watching your videos with me. I'm so happy about that, Miles. Do you like arthropods? Do you like hold? Oh yeah, I'm fine with holding them. They're fine, but there's nothing that grosses me out. There's nothing that creeps me out. The only thing I'm hesitant with holding are things that could kill me. So a venomous snake. All right, I'm not going to pick up. I don't care how calm you think it is. I'm not going to hold a king cobra. Just not going to do it. I'm not going to interact with it. I don't care. I don't want to. It's a thing. It's respectful. Great. Not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Right? I'm not going to pet a wild pit bull in an alley in Detroit that's mouth is foaming. I'm just not going to do it. So, that's the only thing. But poop, pee, man, I've shoved fingers in so many reptile butts, you don't even know. So nothing freaks me out. Millipedes, centipedes, tarantulas. I don't care. It's fine. What's the problem? As long as it can't kill me. Oh wow, it's slimy. Oh wow, it pooped on me. You know what I do? I wash my hands. Big whoop. And actually, I think holding something with a lot of legs is kind of cool when you really, because it's something to feel like one of those giant millipedes. It's something to watch them, fascinating with those hundreds of legs. But then when you can watch it up close on your arm and see it, but then you also get to feel it, it's like it clicks in just really how incredible something is. Like, just think of something like I already think it's impressive to see a reptile walking on all fours, moving one arm, then the back, front left leg, back right leg, and alternating, and then a tarantula with 8 legs and 10 legs. Then when you got something with hundreds of legs, you're like, how is this brain saying, okay, move 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 2, 4, 6, 8? It's like, what the heck? Fascinating. Fascinating. So I find that stuff fascinating. Roaches. Okay, so Miles, yeah, places where roaches, dubia roaches, like even in Florida, could become invasive. This is why Michigan is so nice because nothing's invasive because we have the winter and it drops down below zero, so nothing can survive in the wild that could become invasive. That's not natural to this climate. But you can buy canned and freeze dried dubia roaches. My beard, he gets fat ass hornworms that I've got loaded. Yeah, beautiful. That's good. Very good hydration. You should be able to get a dubia alternative. Yes. So mantis, typically, if you can't have those, you may be able to have locusts or grasshoppers. There are dubia roach alternatives for sure. Double Dragon Hotel donated $10 to the reptiles on my birthday. Thank you so much, Double Dragon Hotel. I really appreciate it. Also, this is amazing. We have 19 people in the stream, but we have 33 likes. If you haven't, please like the video. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Would I keep them as pets? Um, Probably not for myself, like a giant millipede, but I have toyed about having one to bring with shows and interact. So, you're already breaking a lot of barriers when you're showing a snake as a reptile or a giant, dinosaur. When you can hand someone a snake like this and they'll take it like that, and they've been afraid of snakes their whole life, the snake is not killing them. That breaks a lot of barriers. So when I bring Maleficent, my tarantula, that breaks a lot of barriers. So, I have toyed with a giant bug of some kind that lives a long time or a giant snail. But yeah, that can also break barriers. That's what it's all about. Is it better to breed mealworms for your bearded dragon to buy them every time? Breeding superworms and mealworms, I do not believe is easy because you have to let them molt and change form and then breed. I have no experience in it. I know with the superworms, I thought about doing it. I saw all that was involved with getting the roach or getting the beetles because they turn into beetles, and then getting the beetles to breed, and then ugh, they're so cheap. They're so cheap that just buy them. Side note: dubia roaches don't climb the side of the tubs. Yeah, they don't get away. It's good. They can climb the side of the tub if you let dust and debris build up in the tub, um, which is fascinating. So you gotta make sure when you clean your tub, you wipe down the sides because yeah, a little piece of dust that gets stuck on the side, the dubia, which is so light, can use that as a foothold and go up. It's pretty fascinating, actually. I have crickets in my tank. Yeah, crickets. When I feed bugs, I always kill the bug right before I feed it because crickets. I don't want anything getting loose. I don't want anything pooping in the tank. I don't want anything biting the lizard. And also, if you have a big lizard, a monitor lizard that swallows things whole, those bugs will crawl out of its stomach all the time. And a lot of the times they'll crawl out of the stomach once the lizard goes to sleep, because remember, very slow digestion. So those lizards are just sucking those things down, and then 10 minutes later, I've seen Simba sleeping, and then I've seen him go, and then out comes the roach, giant dubia roach, while he was asleep. And a lot of times it happens while he's awake. So you crush it, suck it down, all good to go. How can I tell if my bearded dragon is male or female? By doing man, and other beardies, blue. So first of all, to sex your dragon, it needs to be about 2 years old, because that's when it will really develop its sexual organs outside of a blood test. And honestly, I think the best is, like, femoral pores are typically a good giveaway, but females do have them as well. So if you're not used to really telling the difference, you can take a flashlight and put it at the base of the vent on the tail side, shining through, and you'll either see 2 wieners or you won't see 2 wieners. Congratulations. Yeah, no, it's a lot of people like insects. That's fine. So remember, Endercat, that reptiles, which are cold-blooded, their stomach acid needs heat to get going. So it takes a while for that digestion process to begin. As soon as you've fed them, then the digestion process wakes up. See, humans, we're always ready to digest, always. They are not. Their digestive process is shut off until they eat. And then once they take the first bite of food, then they start turning it on. But then it needs to heat up, it needs to get flowing and things like that. Happy birthday. Cool. We're going to go for 15 more minutes, guys. So thank you, everyone who joined. Please like the stream. Ask your questions if you've got them. And then I want to show something before. So you can ask your questions, but I'm going to show this off. So, and I've mentioned this before, and I think a lot of my viewers know, but I just feel really bad because I see this come up all the time, and I actually kind of feel really bad for the snake. This is your typical small ball python hide, okay? It's not big. There it is inside. This is actually this is her hide. So in every video that I show a ball python, there's always the know-it-all that says, "Oh, this is animal cruelty. You're high," and I think it's coming. Typically, people who say this, guys, are actually coming from a place of caring, but they just don't know. So I don't flame any of them. I don't ever tell them that they're stupid. They're typically coming from a place of caring. But oh, your enclosure's too small. They need multiple hides. They need plants, live plants, fake plants. Just sit here and shake my head. Like, for a ball python, there are other snakes that need more intricate setups. But again, no, they don't, nor do they want that, and nor do they thrive in that environment. Can they survive in a large environment? Yes. But let's go for the thriving and the really living. Again, ball pythons are snakes that can live into their late 60s. Okay? You know how they get there? That ones that aren't bred, ball pythons are very popular to be kept in rack systems. Very tight trays, dark, tight, not very high, 3 or 4 inches high, maybe a foot wide, maybe, and that's it. Because that's how this type of snake thrives. That's why they're called ball pythons in America on this side. Obviously, in the UK, they're called royal pythons, different reasoning. But because they ball up and they like to be in these balls, even when you see them on a basking spot, she naturally did this. I didn't put her in this. When you see them on a ledge, they're always balled up. That's why we call them ball pythons. Well, if you think about it, why do they do this? And I've been over it, so I don't want to sound like a broken record, but in the wild, they will find a hole, a very tight hole, dug by a squirrel, a mole, a gopher, and that's where they will go in. They want something with one entrance and exit. They don't want multiple ways. That way they can curl themselves in and face forward. So the facing forward is they'll typically sit there. Sometimes they'll stay in that tight hole for years. And when something, because they have those heat pits on their mouth, they can see in the infrared at night. When a prey moves by the entrance, boom, they latch out, grab it, and then they pull that sucker back in and then they eat it. So then they can eat it. Now, why does the tightness help? They want to feel safe. In fact, the tighter, the safer they feel, the healthier they feel, the less stress they feel. If and a lot of lizards, this is the same. If they can feel the top, feel the back, feel the sides, they know nothing is behind them, above them, below them, left or right, and they're watching the only door. They feel very safe. So when you get a hide that's like this is like your small hide. Look at how much space there is. This is huge. She'll go in this hide and be tighter than that. Her heat pads under the hide. Here's the door. She will always be back there with her head on an angle like that, facing the door. Look at, and I just put her in here. This is not even her going in and forming the tight ball. That's where she will go in this hide. She will not go in this hide and be a long circle. People will say, make the hide as big as the body, make the tank double the size of the snake. It depends on the snake, of course. But that's how she lays in this hide. There's a ton of extra room. And actually, if I could have had it be half, not half, but three-quarters the size, she would have liked that even better. So, you really, it comes from a place of caring, but they do it wrong. Simba, I've been trying to talk loud, hoping Simba would wake up, but he's just not awake. It's winter time here, so the reptiles really slow down. But so they really feel comfortable. Now, I wouldn't have her live in a shoebox. That's the size of the hide. But then the enclosure itself is also relatively. I like 3 feet by 12 by 18. That's really nice. Lot. If you give them a ledge or something, yeah, some of them will go on it and they'll curl up, but they don't live to their 60s in that environment. So as long as you take your snake out, you socialize with your snake, you do let your snake get some exercise. In the wild, it's very rare. Very rare. Like I said, they live 99% of their life in that hole, dead tree roots, etc. That's where they live 99% of their life, and they typically don't move around. They'll move around if there's not food there for like 2 years. They'll sit there for 2 years and not eat. And then eventually they're like, crap, this house sucks. There's no mice that run by, no baby squirrels, chipmunks. And they'll go find a new hole to stay in their entire life. They live longer. That's just what it is. Now, like I said, they can live in a larger tank. They don't live that long. They live, now, when I say that long, they hit their 30s, maybe their 40s, and that's typically where they die out. But in a rack system or in a tight system, they're living healthily into their 50s, their 60s. It's a big difference. Happy birthday. Thank you, Dizzy. I'm getting my bearded dragon a 120-gallon tank or 90-gallon. Do you breed bearded dragons? No, I don't breed bearded dragons. I actually don't breed anything because I'm doing more for educational. But I hope Smog and Ventress breed, and I hope that Simba and Nala can breed. So if they do, I would be breeding blackthroat monitors and savanna monitors. Do you have or can you recommend a video on creating? I believe, Kelly, I have a couple videos maybe on my dubia colonies. But if not, there's so many out there. It's really simple. Dalasa gives me $19.99 on my birthday and says happy birthday. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The reptiles really appreciate it. That means so much to me. Often should I clean your bearded dragon cage? Well, you spot clean it obviously when they poop, and then once a week I spray down the glass and things like that, even if there's no poop in there. Is it better to get a male or female bearded dragon? What an interesting question. So, bearded dragons. Both of them potentially have one major flaw that can lead to health issues. Both of them are treatable. One is better treatable in the long term. So let's start with female bearded dragons. They can become egg bound. Female bearded dragons can produce eggs without the male ever being present. They would lay infertile eggs. They're typically smaller, easier to pass, but they can get stuck. They can never drop from the ovaries, or they can get stuck in the birth canal. That is, if you catch it, easily fixable by getting them spayed. Super easy, super fast recovery from that surgery, especially if they're young. No blood in that surgery, so easy. Then that will never happen again. Cool, set, done. Male bearded dragons have femoral pores. They're just these big pores that the male secretes a waxy oil to spread its scent, and they can become impacted. You normally can prevent this by giving your male a warm bath once a week that will keep that soft, because there are no females. If you just have one bearded dragon, your male may not feel the need to really push out that oil, or you could just have a lazy male who doesn't care about the females. And so sometimes they can get impacted. That can also be fixed with surgery. They'll cut open the pore, they'll remove the sac that creates the oil, and then they'll stitch it back up. Um, so it's up to you. Males typically get larger. That's what I say. But males can become sexually dominant. And when males get older, they're almost always sexually dominant. And then they'll hump everything that's alive, including humans. They'll latch onto your legs with all four, and they'll just start humping you, or your arm, or your stuffed animal, or other animals. So you just have to be ready for that. It happens. Um, how often should I give them bath? Like once a week. Once a week is good. But obviously, when they get dirty, if they pooped and they walked through it, or whatever, especially as they get older, they get poop on themselves a lot. So a bearded dragon to poop, they have to pick their tail up all the way, and they kind of try to rocket that poop out like a missile. That way it's not by them, but sometimes they don't pick their tail up as much, or they rocket it out, but it doesn't go far enough, or your bearded dragon has a long tail, and then it sets its tail down, and the end of the tail hits the poop, or then it walks through it because you're not there right when they poop. So you bathe them when they need it, but at least once a week. Uh, well, male bearded dragons, like I said, Mongo constantly mounts his cave. I'll walk in, and I feel like I have to walk out because he's just mounted his cave, and he's just humping it like no other. And I just leave the room, because then sometimes he'll look at me and then continue to hump while staring at my eyes. And that's not for me. Yes, Miles, very good. So a lot of the times it is recommended that male bearded dragons get some kind of a stuffed squirrel toy that can be put in the tank that they can sexually dominate. And that helps keep their aggression way down. That's very true. So they're just in the mood, man. They're just in the mood, and that's what they want to do. I don't ask questions. I try to get out of there as quick as possible, right? Just try to get out of there. When you walk in and you see your lizard doing that, and then they stop to turn their head and stare at you, and then like 5 seconds later, whilst keeping eye contact, continue to do it, never blinking, you don't want to be part of that. You just get out of there. You don't ask why. You just get out of there ASAP. So I'm wrapping this up. Anyone have any last questions? Simba is just passed out. So maybe next month, but you'll see him in videos. As you guys know, I do this the last Saturday of inside the calendar month of the month is a live stream, or I try to. But it's really good because, if I release videos during the week or during the month, you guys may get other questions. You can post them as a comment so you don't forget, but then you can follow up with the live stream and ask questions. What did you think, Guinevere? Was this good? Does anyone think they know where this name, what this snake is, what she's named after? If I named her Guinevere, any guesses? You guys can probably tell all of my names come from something. outside. Well, if that's some dragons don't like to go outside at all. Some like to be outside forever. When they get about 1 year old, you can try and see it, and then they'll let you know when they're done being outside. I do think they do it for domination, but I think that's the whole point. Hey, I asked once how to treat scale rot. I tried keeping the enclosure dry only when shedding and wet, and used iodine and on the belly after 3 sheds. Great job. Sometimes if the scale rot's really bad, you can use Lotrimin, which is like the antifungal cream. But typically iodine, because iodine dries that area, it will get there. And like, I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but remember, any problem with skin or shed on a reptile, it takes numerous sheds. Every shed, it's a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. My beardy loves being outside. Well, again, just remember that bearded dragons, the femoral pores, even females have it on their inner thighs. So a lot of times they rub to secrete their oil from their thighs, not for a sexual thing. Oh, thanks so much, Endercat. All right then. Last questions. Last questions before we get out of here, and then I got to clean up because I got some family coming over. We'll play some board games. How many of you thought I was going to bite the snake's head? Probably all of you. No one knows, like Guinevere. Anyone really? All my reptiles are named after a character from something. No, if you have a fake rock cave, that's fine. Gwen Stacy. Oh Jesus. What? Gwen Stacy. And then the worst part is the 3 question marks at the end. Not oh god. Where did I? And then no question mark, LOL. No with a question mark on top of it. No. No. And then I don't know, all spelled out as one word. Oh, it's getting worse. Just he's digging himself a bigger hole here. They're all named, my reptiles, I try to name them after fictional. They're typically all named after fictional things. Okay, maybe we'll start there. Oh God, Gwen Stacy, 3 question marks. No question mark, LOL. I don't know, one word. This mantis, God, people like you make these streams so fun. Thank you for answering my question. Very good. No one knows. Guinevere. Fictional character named Guinevere. Anyone, last chance. I'm reaching out for treating an RI at home. Please, vet. Head up, sleeping, breathing. Yeah, you can try using even like making a nebulizer with Vicks Vapor Rub and like hot water in a tank next to it. That's your only chance, but that's if the RI is caused by dry and cracking lungs. If the RI is bacterial, they are going to, and the vet would tell with a swab, they would need antibiotics to treat that. Pikachu? What? Pikachu? What? At least Gwen Stacy had Gwen in there. Oh, Camelot, that's a good, Alexis. Someone is on the right track. Finally. Just says Camelot. No, it's not a Pokemon. It's actually, dude. So they're all named after shows, right? And this is a female, and she's named after Princess Guinevere of the Jewel Riders. Look up the theme. Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Riders. But with Camelot, it was good. Pikachu, not great. Is it Pokemon? No, not good either. Camelot was, at least we were moving into the right direction. Gwen Stacy, just horrible, just wrong. 100% wrong. A double wrong answer. No idea what that is. I figured not. You had needed to be alive in the 80s and 90s. All right, guys, take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Please like the stream if you didn't. And when you do watch videos, please like and please leave a comment, even if you're just saying hi. Likes and comments on videos just help the algorithm. Just say, hey, people like this video. You can just say hi. Thank you so much, everyone. Double Dragon Hotel. Oh, guys, Double Dragon Hotel in the chat. I always plug her. But she is like a bearded dragon god. Does research, tests things. You know, she's not making the manic, crazy person video, but she's making factual videos on testing different temperatures, lights, way to set up the tanks. Very good channel. Very good channel for raw, real good, healthy information on bearded dragons. Really good channel. Is 90 cm by 40 cm? It's fine size. Have a good day, man. I'm gonna try. Well, I can see it, Alexis. That was good, but I would have taken Princess Gwen, like Queen Guinevere from King Arthur. Remember King Arthur, like King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. Yeah, it could have came from that Guinevere as well. Arthur and his another cartoon from the 90s. It's about a football team that gets sent back in time to pretend that they're King Arthur, and the guy's name is Arthur Knight, and then they get special powers to sell toys, right? Because King Arthur gets captured, and his Knights of the Round Table get captured, and then so we go to the future and we get a football team to pretend that they're King Arthur. Just it was the 90s. There was a cartoon about everything because it sold toys, okay? Hello from South Africa. Hello. All right, now I got to get out of here. We got a lot of cleaning to do. Are you going to help me clean? You going to help me clean? Yeah? Guinevere? No? Didn't think so. Take care, everybody. End it.